Hello and welcome back to X-Carbovore. I'm your host, Kian, and today we're going to speak about the GKI, the glucose ketone index. Let's talk more about that on the inside. Welcome again. This is day 18 and episode 18 of 2025. We are in the middle of the month and we are still doing the Carnivore Kit 180-day Carnivore Challenge. Maybe you decided to join us, and I hope that's true. We are looking for changes to take place within our medical conditions, our physical bodies, spiritually, mentally. We're believing God that these things could take place through eating a healthy carnivore diet. Now, today, I'd like to speak to you about the GKI. Most of you know that I go through the glucose ketone index on every day regularly, and I speak to you about these different levels. I want to dive more into that with you today so that you can have a better idea for yourself where the GKI came from, what was the original purpose for the GKI, and how we're using it today. Let's get into it now. The GKI was discovered by Dr. Thomas Seyfried, a professor at Boston College. And the idea was to assess the metabolic status as it concerns cancer and other chronic diseases. And so that was the idea. And so it breaks down into four different levels. Well, one, if you're above 9, you're not in therapeutic ketosis. And there's a formula that we use for the GKI. You take your glucose and divide that by 18, and then you divide that number by your ketones. So this is done easily in the phone. There's a GKI app that comes with your Keto Mojo, and so you really don't have to do it by hand. But if you like to, and you could also look it up online. There's a GKI calculator online that you could easily use, and this will tell you what level of GKI ketosis you're in. It's a little bit more specific because here you're targeting specific illnesses that you might have or some sort of therapeutic effect. If you're just looking to lose weight, your GKI should be between 6 and 9, or if we want to reverse that, from 9 to 6. The lower the number, the better. But 6 to 9 should be perfect for you if you're trying to lose weight. If you have type 2 diabetes, you want to be in the category 6 to 3. That's going to help you the best. If you have cancer or different types of tumors, if you have epilepsy or any other neurological disease, you need to be 3 to 1. And that's the category that I find myself in. I'm trying to stay at 3 to 1. Now, they say to be under 1, it takes a physician's assistance. But as you've noticed, when you do the carnivore diet, you can achieve that level of ketosis as well, as I have 0.9, 0.8. My wife has achieved 0.6 without any physician assistance. And now you kind of have an understanding of why I set different levels for my glucose and ketone. I like my glucose under 5. So if my glucose is 4 point something, more than likely it's going to help me with my GKI. If my ketone is above 2, typically above 3, it's going to help me with my GKI, because that's my focus, to keep a therapeutic effect for my GKI index to take care of my specific problems. So that's a little bit about the GKI. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding along with some of these graphs that I've shown. Now, let's get into my numbers for the day. All right, well, let's jump right into my blood pressure. Now, I continue to remind everyone, my blood pressure has always been level 3 hypertensive. And I was on medication, 100 milligrams of losartan, for many, many years. I've even shared medication with my mother when I was in the States for quite some time back in 2018. I'll never forget that, running out of my own and just grabbing some of hers. She used herbazartan, so it functioned a little bit differently, but still achieved the same thing. I used that for a while. I tried to get on that when I came back to Sweden, and it was under a different name. I can't remember the name, but same thing. It had a different effect, and it didn't make me nauseated. But they kept me on that only for like 6 months. They didn't like the effect that it had on my blood pressure. Turned me back over to losartan. Anyway, I say a lot of that stuff. Look, I've been off the blood pressure medication for quite some time now, since May of 2024. I can say that now. Since we're in 2025, it sounds like a year. Uh, but listen, Carnivore has really pushed my blood pressure down, and I'm loving it. Today, my blood pressure is 123 over 73. No longer am I seeing 200s or 220s for my systolic. I'm not seeing 100s and 110s for my diastolic. I'm down in the 127 or 123, or even a couple of days ago, I was 113. I'm seeing some of the teens show up, and I expect sometime around March, I'll probably be back in the teens. We trust God for that, because I believe that's going to happen. This is what it is when you're eating with carnivore. You heal your body through food and eating the right way. I always say, if you treat your body right, it's going to treat you right. This is the temple that God lives in. Amen. He's giving you this temple to take care of, and it's up to us to do the right thing with it. Let's look at my glucose. My glucose for today, which is really interesting. As we talk a little bit about the GKI, I like to try to keep my glucose under 5. How do you do that? Well, you don't add any sugar, and after that, you really don't have much control. Your body starts to regulate the way that it's going to do. And I've kept sugar away. I don't even eat artificial sweeteners anymore, because the artificial sweeteners cause me to crave, and sometimes it reacts with my body. That's why I stopped drinking diet sodas, not because of the cancer effect thing, but because, one, it would give me cravings for more sweets, but two, it didn't help me. It didn't help me. It was just causing me to think sweet, 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 sweet. Now, I used it in a transitional period before, and I'm not. When I talk about my journey, I don't want you to think that I'm thinking that everybody should do what I've done. Um, I use some things to get over until I've gone far enough where I could say, let's cut that down. So I take a step-by-step approach to this thing. My glucose for today is 4.6, exactly what it was yesterday. So I'm just in the zone, and it makes me smile because my body is responding to the carnivore way of eating. My ketones for today is another great, I won't say mystery, because we know why it's like this. My ketones, I like to have 3 and above. I wrote on the documents 2 and above, because I know that 2 is a very easy number for me to be at. But my GKI responds better when it's above 3. Today, my ketones is 3.1, and that's okay. I mean, I say that's okay because I know I could be in the 4s quite easily. I was wondering to my wife, I said, why did my ketones go down so much? Was it something we ate? But we really didn't eat anything untoward. We had steak last night, and I had unsalted butter on my steak, and I had water, and I had boiled eggs, soft boiled eggs. That's it. and salt. Of course, I had salt. Yeah, nothing more. But my ketones go up and down, up and down. So the body does what it does. As long as I treat it right, it's gonna do it right. Amen. All right. So my GKI for 3 days in a row, I believe it was 1.1, which was beautiful. Today, my GKI went to 1.4. So it's under 3. That's my goal. I've attained it. I've reached it. And we're so glad about that. Lastly, we talk about my weight. My weight today, which it comes out of the blue, right? The weight takes a step up and then a step back and step up. I mean, whatever. Today, I lost a kilo from yesterday. So I was 88.2. Today, I'm 87.2. And we'll see what we are in the morning. The weight's important only because after doing the blood pressure one on my blood pressure medication and the comparison with carnivore and how carnivore affects me versus my blood pressure medication, we found that the carnivore way, part of their formula or part of the formula of carnivore is that I would lose weight as well. So that's the only reason why it's important to me. Now, do I recommend for you to take your weight every day? Probably not. Me, I'm a bad person. And what I mean by that, you react differently when you see your weight. And me, I had an excuse for everything. So let's say I saw my weight and and I lost like a kilo and it was real easy. I mean, here we are only 18 days into this new year and I've probably lost, well, just this year in kilograms, I was 94.5 when I started the new year. And 3 days earlier, I was 98. Okay. And of course, if you want to go back to my heaviest weight, I was 103.8 kilograms. It was 104 kilograms. It doesn't really matter. I think in 2018, I was 106. So then that's how I started my keto journey, I should say, back in 2018. But we'll talk about that another day. So 94.5 and what's that? 4.5 would get me 90. And then I'm 90. I'm 87.2. So what's that? That's another 3 kilos, just less than. So almost 7 kilos. Yeah, it is 7 kilos, just about 7 kilos, which is about 15 pounds. So let's say in 18 days, it's a little more than 15 pounds, maybe 16 or 17 pounds. But let's say I step on the scale and I go, wow, in 18 days, I lost almost a pound a day. Oh man, you know what? I could break today. I could take this quick break. And because it's so easy, I could just lose it with no problem. Why not? I could cheat just a little. No big deal. And then I go in and grab what I want to do. And let's say the inverse happens. Let's say I get on the scale, I'm eating this way, and I'm not losing anything. And it's gone days and days and days. Now I'm not talking months, it's just days and days and days. And I'm not losing. I'm going, man, this is ridiculous. I'm doing all this and I'm not losing a single thing. I might as well eat something. So you see, it doesn't work for me either way. So I'm very bad at that. So for me, it's about here. It's about making your mind up and saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay the course. And the reason why is because I know that it's benefiting me and I know that I'll be the better for it in the end. The victory comes when you reach the goal. The victory comes when you reach the goal. And we've made it such a long way. I think to myself, if I didn't cheat last year, where would I be right now? Where would I be? I wouldn't be in the same position that I am now, looking at the same weight that I've lost time and time and time again. So let's get some new ground. Let's hit some new numbers. Let's make this body, the sickness and everything, well again so that we can sit back and say, wow, now that was worth it. Well, I want to thank you once again for joining me and being a part of X-Carbovore. We call it X-Carbovore because we're not there yet, but we believe and we're declaring that carbs would no longer be a part of my diet. I don't believe I'm there yet, but I'm speaking it into existence. And the reason why I say I don't believe I'm there yet is because at times I feel challenged. There's going to come a time that we won't have these challenges, that this would be so far removed from us, these carbs would be so far removed from us that we can walk and it doesn't bother us at all. We can be shaken and not moved. Thanks again for joining me. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, hit the like button, tell a friend that we are here, that there's a guy like me doing a thing like this. God bless you and your family, and we'll see you tomorrow.